time to go balls deep.
The EA Sports College Football Headquarters Podcast.
Hell yeah, everybody. Thank you for listening. My name is Alan Gigax.
I am Anthony Scafacci.
Dude, and it is on.
Yep.
Guys, thank you very much for tuning in. And please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, whatever it takes to get balls deep, the notice that it deserves, because we are doing the Lord's work here.
Yes, we are. We're working as hard as we can to bring you guys the best entertainment we can muster.
Yeah, you're damn
and
right.
for an affordable cost of $0.
That's right. And we couldn't do that without our sponsors.
Yep. And so who is our sponsor today for Just the Tip?
For
Al?
Just the Tip, we are sponsored by Clitty's, a brunch spot. Come in for a nibble.
All right, Al. What is our tip for the day?
Our tip for today is look before you leap. You know, that's an obvious one, right?
Okay.
Everybody knows that. But dude, it's really good advice, because I will tell you that the closest I have ever come that I'm aware of to death was a look before you leap situation.
Oh, I think I know where
I was
this is
at the
going.
Hoover Dam. Well,
Yeah.
of course you do, because we've been friends for over 30 years, and you were around. You weren't there when it happened, but I was at the Hoover Dam. We live in Las Vegas. So back in the day, you could go to the Hoover Dam any time of the day or night and just walk around. And so I was there at night one time with our old buddy Rory. And we were on the Arizona side of the Hoover Dam. There's a nice parking lot over there. And so we parked and we were looking into the spillway, where when the lake is over full, the water can pour over the top and then it drains out into the river. And so we're on the lake side on this little bridge that goes over the spillway. And so you have like the spillway itself, and then there's like a wall, and then a sidewalk, and then a gate, and then on the other side of the gate is the road. And then across the road, there's another gate. And so I want to go look and see, wow, this looks really neat at night. I wonder what it looks like looking down into the spillway at night. So I jump over the gate, I go running across the road, I go jump over the other gate expecting the sidewalk to be there, but there's no sidewalk.
Holy shit.
There's just the gate and the wall. And so I jump over the gate, and now I'm also jumping over the wall into the spillway.
Oh, wow.
And so there's nothing below me but death. And I managed to kind of catch myself with my trailing leg and pull myself back over the wall and back collapse onto the road. And dude, I would not have survived that fall.
It's a few hundred feet.
Yeah, it's a few hundred feet onto hard concrete. And so that's why they say look before you leap.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
And
dude.
Thank you to Clitty's, our sponsor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
All right, so what's our topic today?
Well, our topic today, we just recently went through an election in this country. And,
That's true.
And it kind of got me thinking that after the election, or actually, I guess in this case, it's usually, it already happened, but it's like
the inauguration.
The inauguration, but then there's like the State of the Union
Oh,
address,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And so I wanted to do a state of the headquarters.
All right,
Right.
that's fair.
And so we could talk about kind of where we are today. Right.
Yep.
So a lot has been going on. Our page is well established. It kind of has its own rhythm. We
Yep.
get trends, different things come out. But now, we've hit a period because the national championship game for college football, which is actually something we don't ever talk about on the headquarters because we don't talk about real football.
Right.
But it just happened.
Right, as we record this.
Yeah, it just happened.
Yep.
Right. And so now that that's over, there's no college football, and college football usually spills onto our page in one way or another, but it also drives excitement
Yeah, that's
for
true.
the page and
People
for the
watch
game.
college football, and so they want to go play college football.
And so
on their
now
video
we're
game.
into that zone between now and the release of the new game where there's no college football. There'll always be college football news and, things happening, transfer portal. There's always going to be something, right? College football itself is a year-round sport now, right? But when it relates to the gaming, it's not so much, right? We're going to kind of enter a lull. And because the game is now officially back, right? Because they did announce
video game is back.
Yeah,
Yep.
and they announced the next game
26,
is
yep.
coming out right
Yep.
this summer. That the growth that we had last year at this time, it's not happening.
No, of
right?
course not.
Yeah, last year at this time we were adding like 1,000 people a day to the page.
Right.
Well, today it's not that way because a lot of the people who were looking for the page already found it. And yeah, we're still growing a little bit each day, but it's not nearly at the rate we used to, right?
Right.
So, but what does that mean, right? What's that mean for the headquarters, right? So I wanted to talk a little bit about that, Al.
Okay.
So, you know, obviously you're the other admin on the page.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what do you see?
Well, so the state of the page in general, I got to give us a big pat on the back because we have successfully created a non-toxic environment.
Sure.
And on the internet, dude, that's an achievement.
Yeah. And I think, you know, the culture of our page,
Yeah.
the people that make up the heartbeat of the page,
Right. The
They
Eric
get
Vinny
it.
Dixon, the Jacob Crow,
yeah, right.
Andrew
Well,
Nickerson.
yeah,
those
Blaine
people, yeah.
Hester and all those
Yeah.
guys, Nick Leonard, all those guys that are every day, they're on the page. You know, they contribute to the page. Those guys, right? Dude, they fucking take a post, bro.
Yeah,
like,
they
and
do.
I mean, like they're standing guard.
Right.
And when assholes come on the page, dude, they'll report the comment or something like that or the post. It goes right to me. Our moderators are all over because we're like fucking sharks and there's blood in the water.
Right.
Right. And we get rid of that stuff so quick that it never takes hold. We
Right.
have very little negativity as a whole
Right.
that is just negative for the sake of being negative. Now, sometimes shit happens and like the game fucks you in some way that it's
Yeah, but
not.
that's
but it's,
not the negativity we're worried about.
Yeah.
You can be mad at the game because
Sure.
the computer does fuck you sometimes.
oh, absolutely.
Yes.
And you can also, you know, miss aspects of the game and want more things added. You can want the game to be better.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? It's the person that's like, oh, this game's trash, and it's like a drive-by post.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff that we don't want, and we really don't have.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
that is
it's
true.
It is gone, and
It's amazing how small of a minority those people actually are. The
Sure.
problem is they're so fucking loud.
well, and you know, a lot of pages.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not on any other pages really for the most part.
Yeah.
but I have been, and a lot of other pages. That toxic shit, they want that drama. They want the arguments.
Right, because it
it's
drives
exciting.
interaction.
Well, it
Oh,
drives
that too, yeah.
interaction. It's exciting. They get to
Right.
shit talk people.
Right.
You know, it's a lot of get good and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And, you know, there is that. Like, there's people will say, you know, skill gap and all
Right.
the catchphrases. But for the most part, man, like, we are a helpful community.
Yeah.
Right? It is pretty fucking amazing. And give yourselves a hand out there.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know?
Right. That comes from all of you guys buying into that idea and being a part of it. And that whole like don't yuck my yum culture where somebody posts like, hey man, I just took, you know, New Mexico to the national championship. And dude, if somebody posts like, oh, you must be playing on varsity, you're trash, we delete that.
Yeah. Or, you
If
know, we
you're
try
having
to.
fun, yeah, if you're having fun with the game, dude, that's what we want. We're
Sure.
here to have fun. And I ain't about putting other people down.
Yeah, and so, you know, I want that culture to persist, and you know, the more people that are part of it, what I find is that a lot of the people that are on our page,
Right.
they're only on our page.
Because it's the only
Right?
non-toxic
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah, they stay on our page and they visit our page and they're active on our page.
Right.
Because it's not only fun,
Right.
but like the community is definitely there. And so, you know, like I said, hats off to you guys. You guys make that possible because we can't do it alone. You got to get people to buy in
Right.
to this idea of just not being an asshole to each other.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, so that's one thing that, you know, I'll talk about that all day. I think it's just great. But so in that sense, like the health of our page and the health of our community is really strong.
Agreed.
You know, another topic is expansion, right?
Okay.
Is the headquarters in itself is kind of becoming a bit of a brand. You know, yes, it's nobody gives a fuck about us in the big scheme of things,
But
right?
dude, 70,000 strong. That's still that's
dude,
that's
we
not nothing.
should go over 74,000 like sometime in the
Dude,
next couple
we're
of
ready
days.
to take on Cedar Rapids, Michigan, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, dude, we're
and we'll
bigger
take
than
them out.
we're,
yeah,
we're bigger than some cities.
yeah, than
right?
a lot of cities.
But
yeah,
you know, the thing is, I get to look at the analytics,
Uh-huh.
right, and our insights,
right.
and the amount of traffic we get a day on the page,
Uh-huh.
right? It's around 6,000 people a day every week, you know, and sometimes it's higher.
Advertisers, are you hearing
Yeah,
that?
sometimes it's lower, But
Right.
for the most part, it's around 6,000 people. That's not like shows up in their feed. That's like clicks on
Actually
the
go
page.
to the page, right?
Right, yeah, and spends time on the page. You know, the number of comments and likes and all that stuff.
Right.
It still goes up. You know, it kind of trends here and there, but for the most part, it's consistent. Like, we get a lot of posts, we get a lot of interaction. If you ask a question, not only do you get an answer, but it's actually like not a shitty answer. Like,
Right.
you get a real answer.
Yeah.
Right. And so we still have our storyline page. We still have the R&D page. Those aren't as active because you need more people on them. They're still in the kind of infancy.
Right. And it's
Right.
very specialized content.
Yeah, and it's very specialized content, but something that I've been kicking around for a while and I have talked to you about is expanding to Madden.
Yeah.
Right? Is starting another headquarters page strictly for Madden. I
Right.
know we have a lot of Madden players in our group. And right now, if somebody posts about Madden, I delete it. I'm an asshole like that.
Sure.
Because it's not on topic.
off
We're not a
topic,
Madden
that's right.
group, right?
Yeah.
But I am strongly considering opening up a Madden page and understand that, dude, once again, we're going to have to start from scratch.
Right.
And build that page the same.
With
and
that
so,
same sort of non-toxic
yeah, with that
environment.
same sort of, and it's a daunting task to do what we do and to think about it like, oh, now I'm going to add another page.
Right.
But, you know, I've thought about this. Like, well, you know, maybe we add this. FIFA is another game. I don't play that game.
You don't play Madden
I don't play
either.
Madden either. But
Right.
but people in our audience do.
Yep.
And so those would become like our moderators for that page.
Okay.
Is that we would basically, you know, the people that are enthusiastic about Madden would help run the Madden page.
Right.
And, you know, they would bring this successful culture that we've built and just start it there.
Right.
And let them deal with
Right, the
Nigerians.
template is in place.
They can deal with the Nigerians.
Yeah, you know, it works. Like, I went through the same thing with the hiking group that I run.
Sure.
Here in Las Vegas, I have a hiking group that has like 28,000 members. And people have left town, gone to other places, and started hiking groups on that same template.
Yeah.
And found success because the template is what makes it work. And it's the same with the EA page, you know, the non-toxic environment, the stay on topic, the be supportive of other people's creativity. That's what's working.
Yeah, then when they go there and they're successful, we could say that they're just like a system quarterback.
Yeah,
He's a system moderator.
You're Vinny Testaverde.
Yeah, he's an assistant.
Or
He's just a game
whatever, yeah.
manager, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So that's it, right? We could, but that's something that we've talked about,
Right.
and expanding into these different things because, quite frankly, I love community stuff, man. I really do. Like my wife always says, like, you're so extroverted and stuff like that. And so, gaming has always been, I've been gaming since I was like just a little kid, since like the Atari 2600. Okay. Right. I'm that old. Right.
Yeah.
And it's always been a part of my life. It's always something
Dude,
that
I
I'm
go
going to
back
be into.
in gaming to when you had a big metal hoop and a stick, and
Yeah.
you just roll that down the street.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
when I started. in gaming,
But that's my gaming history. Is I've played them all, man.
Yeah.
Like I grew up in arcades. I played every classic old game that's around. The retro stuff is that's dude.
Sure.
I'm fucking retro. So anyway, so those are things that are kind of like on the horizon. We're thinking about doing it, and honestly, if you listen to this episode and you think, I think a Madden page would be good. You guys should do it. Then we will launch it.
Right.
We
what we need is a couple of committed moderators.
yeah, sure. We
to,
need people that are willing to take on that task for the no fucking pay.
Yeah,
right.
that's true.
But be part of the leadership here at the
and there's
headquarters.
always the possibility, like we're starting to get sponsors.
Oh, absolutely.
On the headquarters page.
Sure.
And it's not unreasonable to think that there will be sponsors, on the other pages.
Yeah,
as
down
well.
the road. Yeah, we will. Look, I've never got into this to make a penny. And you know, and it's
I don't know
well,
if that's
no,
true.
no, for real.
Maybe
right?
you never got into it expecting to
No,
make
okay,
a penny.
yeah. So
yeah,
maybe I never expected to make money,
Yeah.
and I'm living up to that by being about $1,500 in the hole.
Right,
right.
exactly,
You know, doing this because I'll take my own money. I'll put my money where my mouth is.
Right.
You know, and I'll invest in what I think is good because I believe in the headquarters. I believe in the Balls Deep podcast.
Absolutely.
Right. I believe in the things we're doing to the point where money doesn't motivate me at all. It really doesn't. Like, but you know, hey, look, and I'll share. Man.
That's right.
You know, that's the thing.
When
I'll share.
Anthony gives you a hand job behind the dumpster,
It's free.
It's for the love of the
Yeah,
game.
it's for the love of the game. I'll make eye contact, right? Mainly because I want it to be over with quickly, right? But you know, hey, I'm here to please, dude. Right? I'm trying to get it out there, and you know, I want that connection, right?
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
like that, even if it's just fleeting, you know, like you know, as long as maybe to overwhelm the smell of the dumpster, right? So and dude,
Anyway.
real quick.
Oh,
so,
sure.
So in my line of work, right? I happen to find myself around dumpsters every once in a while.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something that I see every once in a while is people shit on a wall and it'll stay on a wall. And
What?
dude, it's right. Well, dude, when you're a garbage man, dude, you find out like that people shit on a wall behind a dumpster.
So
it's like
not on the
gravity
ground.
defying. No,
Yeah, what?
it's
It
like
sticks
gravity
to the-
defying. Yeah, I don't know how they do it. Right. And I always wonder because I
That
never
seems
catch them in the act.
impossible.
No, I don't
is
know.
it like a piece of shit or is it
Dude,
like a shit splatter?
No, sometimes it's splatter.
Okay.
Sometimes-
Splatter makes sense.
Sometimes it's fully formed though. It's like it's got texture. And it's like it's just gravity defying.
stupefied by what I'm
next
hearing.
time I come across it, I will take a picture and send
great.
it to you.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
Look,
what I need.
I'm a fucking team player. Just let me know when you're eating lunch,
Yeah.
and then I will
thanks, dude.
send you that
You know,
that
every
wall
time-
hanger.
Every time a lady sends me a instant message or a text message or something, I always hope, it's going to be titties this time.
No.
And it's never titties. Instead, I get things like this.
Yeah.
I get, a picture of shit stuck to a wall behind a dumpster.
Hey man, you know, look.
What is it possible that they shit on the ground and have picked it up and stuck it to the
Dude,
wall?
look, I've contemplated
be.
a lot of these things, right?
Yeah.
Like, how is this happening? Because
Yeah.
it kind of defies gravity, and
It does.
but I'm telling
that
you,
song from Wicked, that's really what it's about.
yeah. Well, right, but I don't know how it happens, but dude, it happens. Okay,
Yeah.
right. So anyway, so that real quick,
Okay.
I know I got sidetracked there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we discussed expanding.
Yep.
We discussed our culture. Right now, let's discuss 100,000.
Oh, hitting 100,000 members. Yeah,
Hitting
that's the goal.
100,000
Right.
members. That is this year's goal. Is to
Okay.
hit 100,000 members. Right? So hey, if you're out there and you know somebody who plays the game and they're not on the headquarters,
Yeah.
you know, send
Get 'em
them
on
our
there.
way, right? Yeah, we need more cool people.
And of course, tell them about Balls Deep.
Yeah,
too.
oh yeah, feel free to shout this from the mountaintops.
Right.
Because you're listening to a kick-ass podcast that's fun, and you know, hey, I'm sure everybody wants a big audience, but honestly, man, like I want an audience that I know.
Sure.
I know it sounds weird, but it's like I like to know the people that we're talking to, because dude, that relationship's important. So yeah, but you know, by all means, we want to grow the headquarters 100,000. I remember when I set out, started that, I said 2 million. Right? Hey, no, I still
Okay.
believe in that. Look, dude, we're on an infinite timeline.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like, and 2.8 million people bought the game.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right?
Right.
That was pre-ordered, by the way.
Wow.
It's gone up from there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
At this point, 2 million people on the headquarters, it's not impossible.
All right.
You know,
That's fair.
but hey, you got to start at the next the next
Right.
thing, which is
We're already close to being the biggest.
yeah, well, we were really close, but then there was some bullshit from Facebook that
yeah,
lowered
that
our. It
happens.
took us out of the algorithm, and so instead of averaging like 300 to 400 people a day,
Right, right.
it dropped us down to like 60, and you know we haven't found our way back in yet.
the algorithm, man, it's so weird.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
who knows? Some fucking weird nerdy math guys like fucking with us.
Fucking nerds.
Yeah, but you know, look, that is it. Okay, that's what it boils down to. Is I want to get to 100,000 people. If we can get to 100,000 people, will be the biggest. We're already the best. Okay, hands down. I think we're the best, most interactive community there is. We get to 100,000 people, and that's like a pretty big goal and milestone. And that is, I think, with 26 coming out, we're due to get like a rush of people.
Well, it's not going to go down. That's for
no,
sure.
But
Right.
that people that maybe didn't buy the game the first time around, that now through word of mouth or whatever, they're going to wait until the new one comes out. And I expect that at some point we will get those people and they will come on to the headquarters, and then, we'll have new friends, right? New leagues, new things like that. So, yeah. So anyway, all right. So that's it. That was kind of where I'm at.
Cool.
Right? Do we have a sponsor for today's
Of course,
episode?
we have a sponsor.
We
Dude,
do?
With a podcast this good, sponsors are flocking. And we got another, not just a sponsor, another new sponsor.
A new sponsor? Who?
A new
I like.
sponsor.
I
Well,
like hearing about our new sponsors.
Now, it's new to sponsoring a full episode. This will be their first full ad read.
Okay.
Yep. And
All
that
right.
is Pound Town Chicken.
All right.
At Pound Town, we serve the world's tastiest and tenderest fried chicken fritters. How do we do it? We pull out our meat, we lay it on the table, and we pound it. And pound it as hard and as fast as we can until it goes soft. When your lady asks you to take her to Pound Town, you say yes.
I'm gonna take my wife to Pound Town tonight.
Oh, that's good, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I ask my wife, do you want to go to Pound Town? She says no.
She says no.
No, she says no.
Well, you got to let
Yeah.
her taste the meat.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess my meat, it's not tender enough.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
First, try playing just the tip.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, I got to get her with just the tip.
Yeah,
first.
and then
I
say,
like the
"Hey,
way you
babe,
think.
tonight I'm taking you to Pound Town. My treat."
My treat.
My
that's
treat.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, good times.
All right. For Anthony Scafacci,
Yeah, I'm Alan Gigax.
this was the Balls Deep podcast. We're pulling out.